They are flocking to PNC Park tonight. It's the first Friday night home game of the year, and the Pirates looking to raise it once again as they drop 2 of 3 to the Detroit Tigers. And they host the Milwaukee Brewers tonight, the first of the 3-game series as the opening homestand of the 2015 schedule continues. Greg Brown along with Steve Blass. Steve, the Pirates ranked among the league leaders in a lot of offensive categories last year, but so far, early going of 2015, the offense is really sputtering.
Yeah, the numbers are a lot different. They're really struggling. Last 2 games being shut out. Look at the right-hand column. Those categories, 15th, 15th, 14th, 15th, 15th, last in the National League. Nobody's walking. Nobody is getting out with a free pass. We're wasting a lot of very, very good pitching right now.
Pirates have not drawn a walk since last weekend, last Saturday in Milwaukee, when they faced the big 6'6" right-hander Jimmy Nelson, who was dealing through 7 strong innings against the Pirates.
Really dealing with that exceptionally good curveball. Now, the Pirates are going to have the challenge tonight of making him stay upstairs with a curveball. If he misses enough upstairs, you're going to be able to catch up with him. You can't chase a ball. It's going to wind up down in the dirt. They've got to keep him honest.
All right, the Pirates and the Milwaukee Brewers, special night tonight because it is the debut of Friday Night Rocks. Are you ready to rock?
Rock till you drop.
How about White Like Fire will be our featured band tonight, so sit back, enjoy, and listen to tonight's telecast as the Pirates look to defeat the Milwaukee Brewers in Game 1 of the 3-game series. Here at PNC Park, thanks to Point Park University, the first Free Shirt Friday on the home schedule as the Pirates kick off their weekend series against the Milwaukee Brewers with Vance Worley on the mound and looking for a bounce-back start as the Brewers touched him for 6 runs in 6 1/3 innings last Saturday at Miller Park. We're going to get right to our Allegheny Health Network injury update because it does impact Worley and the Pirates significantly. All-star center fielder Carlos Gomez has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. Said he felt a pop in his right hamstring while running to first base on Wednesday and immediately came out of the game. That obviously is at least 2 weeks. When you hear a pop of the hamstring, that could be significant. And that is, I mean, some would say is the kind of the heart and soul of this Brewers lineup. And this Brewers team has been struggling anyway. We'll take a look at the starting lineup. Gene Segura moves up into that leadoff spot that had been Carlos Gomez spot in the lineup, and the lineup is brought to you by Honda. Jonathan Lucroy will hit second. Ryan Braun, .313 career hitter against Pittsburgh. Adam Lind is their cleanup hitter this season. Aramis Ramirez in his final year in the big leagues is at third base. Then it's Chris Davis. Gerardo Parra is in center. Scooter Gennett at second base, and Jimmy Nelson will be on the mound for the Brewers. And Vance Worley on the hill for Pittsburgh.
You know what they used to say that when I was pitching against real good pitchers, pitcher shutout will play for a tie.
Good luck.
Kind of in this kind of situation, but Vance Worley has to be very good. The Pirates are not scoring a lot of runs, so when it comes down to that, you got to outpitch somebody. It's not real complicated, so if he's good, then the Pirates are going to have a shot tonight, but boy, would you like to see him break out.
Defense usually plays a big role behind Vance Worley, and the defense brought to you by Honda. Andrew McCutcheon is in center. Marte and Polanco on the corners. Josh Harrison, Pedro Alvarez on the infield corners. Mercer Rodriguez up the middle. And behind the plate, Francisco Cervelli. Sean Rodriguez gets his first start as a Pirate at second base. And as Neil Walker gets essentially 2 straight days off, of course, because of the team off day yesterday. And we're ready to go with Gene Segura in the box, and the first pitch is a strike. Segura was on base twice against Worley last Saturday and hit a 2-run homer off of him in his second at bat, as Worley was beaten by the Brewers 6-0. And going to the other side, and there is Rodriguez right away. 1 down.
Take a look at our Brewers Casino tips to win. Talked about it. Worley has to have a strong start. Find some runs somewhere. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be a lot of them if you get good pitching. And you saw the defense, by the way. Take a look at Andrew McCutcheon. The Pirates have gone 53 straight innings without committing an error. So that goes hand in hand with good pitching. It's really very much a part of the Pirates' success last year for sure.
27 years old from Sacramento, California. Faces Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy was 1 for 8 in the series last weekend in Milwaukee. The Pirates took 2 of 3 from the Brewers. Lucroy, slow start, 4 hits and 30 at bats. Finished 4th in MVP voting last year. And a liner toward left field and just foul. 0-2, just foul. Lucroy flirting with a 1-out double.
Just enough hook. And there's the first Pirate error.
Yeah, that's
53 innings.
We won't put that in the Pirate book, but that's might be the first fan error.
Yeah, that's a clank
of the season. The fans had gone 3 straight games without a miscue until that one with 1 out in the first. But you know, you got to come right back at it. You can't give up. Wow.
Where was that pitch?
Whoa.
We're going to find out.
Chris Guccione behind the plate, and Vance Worley figures, why didn't I get that pitch called a strike?
That's called a perfective. Usually get those.
Got him with a breaking ball. Struck him out.
Yeah.
Steve made the point that Worley, you look at all that happened to the Pirates last year, that terribly slow start, getting out of the gates at 6 games under 500 after the first month of the season. The rotation was not strong, but Worley and Jeff Locke and Brandon Compton were real shots in the arm to this club. The Pirates don't go back to the postseason without Vance Worley.
Exactly. That group, that trio, with about 14, 15 games, maybe 2 or 3 times around the rotation, they held the fort.
That greeting, no surprise, is for Ryan Braun. Pittsburgh, like a lot of cities, love to boo Ryan Braun coming to the plate. .259 hitter in the early going. He was 2 for 11 against Pirates pitching last weekend. The Brewers went to St. Louis following their 3-game series against the Pirates, and they beat the Cardinals and ruined their home opener 5-4, but then they lost the last 2 games. Ron Renicke's club towards center field, sending McCutchen back toward the warning track, and with some room. A ground out, a strikeout, and a fly ball to deep center. Pirates coming to bat. Degree temperature, 70 when the first pitch was thrown. Toyota starting lineup: Josh Harrison leads things off. Francisco Cervelli hits second. Gregory Polanco bats third, and Andrew McCutchen batting fourth for the first time since June of 2013. Pedro Alvarez bats fifth, and it's Starling Marte, Jordy Mercer, Sean Rodriguez, and Vance Worley.
Well, Mr. Curveball last time out for Jimmy Nelson, very impressive for a guy that last year was 10-2 in AAA and blew everybody away with a fastball and a slider. So it's a recent development, a great find after a few starts for Mr. Nelson. And we'll see if he can continue or the Pirates can figure that curveball out.
Josh Harrison, 194 average, was 0 for 7 in the series last weekend in Milwaukee. Takes ball one. And a couple of things that Jeff Branson, the hitting coach of the Pirates, would like to see. First of all, kind of a more patient approach. That doesn't mean he's looking for walks. There's a lot of talk about that. And this ball bounced to third, and on the in-between hop, Ramirez swipes it up and throws on to get Josh Harrison 1 up and 1 down. Steve, Branson said that the team has been in a hurry to hit instead of being ready to hit. So he said, just let that ball just travel just a little bit longer into the zone.
Yeah, you get
don't be jumping at it, right?
And if you're out in front, then you don't have much left either. But they've got to get him. They've got to make sure they force him to throw the ball in the strike zone. A high curveball is no good. A lower curveball could be no good either if they take it. So they've got to force him to throw their kind of curveballs instead of his kind.
And letting you know each player's walk-up song tonight, and that's Amore by Dean Martin is Francisco Cervelli's. And he takes the pitch inside a fastball at 93 from Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, and Nelson's ceiling for his fastball is not dazzling, 92 miles an hour, but when it complements a good consistent curve, which he had last time out, then it's a good 1-2 punch. He doesn't fool around with the slider much anymore. Kind of dropped it in favor of the curve.
And another ball that is pulled to the left side of the infield. 5-3. Here's Gregory Polanco coming to the plate, and his walk-up music.
Batting third, right fielder, number 25, Gregory Polanco.
This is Desde Abajo by Packer Luther King. Gregory Polanco's walk-up song. Polanco, 7 hits and 35 at bats, a .200 average. Batting third for the first time in his early career. Ball one.
And down the road, we're talking about 9 games, so we can't get carried away too far. But down the road, Polanco and Marte have to be a big part of this offense. We're talking about possibly the best outfield in Major League Baseball, possibly down the road.
Well,
it has to start
not too far down the road, because if this team is going to win,
right,
people are expecting this team to win, then they do have to be a part of the offense.
Yeah.
Bounce to the shortstop with 3 ground balls. And a close play at first. Polanco thinks maybe he beat it. He's looking toward the Pirates dugout, and Clint Hurdle is going to walk up the dugout steps. And then he'll take a look back at Dave Jouse. And Jouse says nope, he was out. Right away he gets the word from Kevin Roach in the Pirates clubhouse.
That was very close. That speed of Polanco is something else.
It is.
But again, routine balls that create, well, for the most part, routine outs. This one was not routine, but 3 ground balls.
So after 1, it's 0-0.
Is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota helps you get the most out of your drive. Just ask a friend who drives one. Toyota, let's go places. By Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better. And by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks.
Second inning in Pittsburgh. This is game 4 on the home schedule. Here's Adam Lind. He takes a strike. To a .333 start in his Brewers career.
Had a very hot first week.
He had 9 hits in his first 17 Brewers at bats. Back 9 for his first 14. Picked up from the Blue Jays over the winter.
So the bats of the Brewers are pretty much as quiet as the bats of the Pirates. And as an opposing pitcher, which Vance Worley is, make sure you throw strikes. Don't help a struggling offensive team out by putting people on the base path. So Vance, throw a lot of strikes, and that's going to be a really good start for your good beginning. They come in at 2-7. Pirates at 3-6, so they've had their issues.
Worley, likes to work quickly and Likes to throw strikes. 6'2", 250 pounds. Lynn goes the other way and out of play. It stays 1 ball and 2 strikes on Adam Lynn, former third-round pick of the Blue Jays back in 2004. I remember Braun and Prince Fielder were, for a long time, maybe 2 of the best in baseball. That right-handed, left-handed combination, the meat of the order. Now Adam Lynn trying to pick up some of the slack that really haven't had a lot of production out of first base since Fielder left. Fights that one off, and this time pulls it. So he's gone the other way several times. Now pulls this ball foul. It stays 1 ball and 2 strikes on Adam Lynn.
Even if he's quite good, will never match that combo production. That was
devastating.
Really strong. Really strong. Close.
Early out of Long Beach State University. The pitch was outside.
Yep.
Here's the 9th pitch of the Lind at bat. Now it's gone to 3-2.
Now, neither one of these pitchers, as you take a look at Lynn getting ready for the payoff pitch, will pile up a bunch of strikeouts just blowing the ball by people. Now, last time out, Nelson had 9, but a lot of them were with the curveball. So it's about pitch location and selection when these type of pitchers rack up strikeouts.
That is a free pass, and that's the 6th drawn by Lind to lead the Brewers club in the early going of 2015. A leadoff walk. It'll bring up Aramis Ramirez.
You're mentioning his last major league season. That's what we hear. And it'll be different looking around baseball without Aramis Ramirez. He's carved himself out quite a career.
365 career home runs, which ranks 6th all time among major league third basemen. Now 36 years old. And he goes the other way and out of play. Batting 171 through the first 9 Brewers games. The Brewers have lost 7 of their first 9. They had that terrible collapse last year, and they sat in first place longer than any other team after a 20-7 start that held up for 150 days. But then they had the 9-game losing streak late, a 1-13 stretch in September. They finished 82-80 and 8 games back.
Wow, 20-7, and now they're 2-7. Start this year.
The offense averaged under 3 runs a game in September. The 3-4 hitters didn't do much at all. And there's a strike 3 called, and you see Ramirez's reaction. Chris Guccione rings him up.
Take a look at the W.P. Mason strike zone again, and you rack up a good call by Chris Guccione and a perfect pitch on the outside corner.
Now Chris Davis. Big rip and fouls it back. Davis batting .258. Last year hit .244 with 22 home runs. He's 27 years old.
Now there's 2 home runs in this Brewers lineup. There are 7 home runs in the Pirates starting lineup tonight.
Strike. Fastball 0-2. Worley got a ton of called third strikes last year. just got a called third strike on Ramirez. And going the other way is Davis. And that'll drop fair and then bounce out of play. On second and third with one out as Chris Davis doubles to right.
And you might say if that ball stayed in play, maybe Lynn will have a chance to score, but Adam Lynn is not a speedster. That probably would have ended up the way you're looking at it right now, second and third.
The only thing that might have been somewhat interesting had Polanco gotten to it quickly, might he have had a play on Chris Davis at second, but there's no way that Lynn tries to score on that. Well, the first threat of the ball game belongs to the Brewers. It's in the second inning, and here is Gerardo Parra. And this will bring home a run. 1-0 Brewers as Parra grounds it to Sean Rodriguez, scoring Adam Lynn. Parra wasted no time. Picks up his first RBI of the season. A walk to Lynn to begin the inning. And he scores. And now Scooter Gennett with Davis at third and 2 down. They will intentionally walk Scooter Gennett. Jimmy Nelson on deck. Fred Hurdle wants to get out of the inning right away, not take any chances, even with a guy like Scooter Gennett at the plate.
Yeah, this next batter has not had much offensive experience.
0 for 2 early going in this season. Last year he had 3 hits and 21 at bats.
Remember the roster he hit against?
Yeah. His hits were against Jacob deGrom. That hit by Jimmy Nelson against Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets July 27th last year ended a hitless string going back to his minor league days of 0 for 66 in his pro career, including 0 for 7 in the majors. Then he got the hit off deGrom and his other 2 hits off Tim Lincecum and Clayton Kershaw.
Nobody hits Kershaw. I mean, that doesn't happen. He's big enough. Pretty decent swing this first pitch delivered.
How about 0 for 66 to begin his pro career, including 0 for 7 in the major leagues. And then he gets the hit off the National League Rookie of the Year, Jacob deGrom. And then 2 Cy Young Award winners in Lincecum and Kershaw.
Stories to tell the grandkids.
1 ball, 1 strike on Jimmy Nelson. The Brewers up 1-0.
Out of Klamath or Klamath Falls, Oregon. Home of the Ducks.
.66. Jimmy Nelson. 6'6", 243.
There used to be small pitchers. There's no more small pitchers.
No, so they intentionally walk Gennett and they strike out Jimmy Nelson. 1-0 Milwaukee.
script. If you bought a ticket today, you are getting your money's worth.
Some of the plays of the week. That Standoff by White Like Fire, our featured band, our first edition of Friday Night Rocks here on Root Sports. Here is Andrew McCutchen hitting cleanup. There's a rocker for you, Steve.
Yeah. Just in from the West Coast. Got the shades working.
Oh, he's got the M&Ms going.
Oh, yeah, feet up.
That is a rocker right there. That dude is cool. Breaking ball at 0-2.
Here's your Jimmy Nelson curveball. And that's a perfecta. See, that's right. That's going to land right down the bottom of the strike zone. If it's below that, you got a chance to take it. Above that, it's hittable. That was a good one. Downstairs there.
Fouled off. That previous pitch, like the breaking pitch, looked as though it was pretty close. Lucroy looked like he caught that uncomfortably. This is before the foul ball.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a strike. We've talked so much, Steve, about pitch framing, and Lucroy, understandably so, gets a lot of credit. They talk about, you know, how really good he is.
Looked like he got fooled on.
But you know, I've heard, including General Manager Neil Huntington, say, you know, we're looking for catchers that keep strikes in the zone. Well, there we saw Lucroy take a pitch. It looked as though brought it back. Now this is McCutchen taking a pitch inside. Allegheny Health Network Supermo.
But you want to keep the strikes that you're going to get.
Right.
That might be the point. It's not so much the ones you buy, because that's going to be occasional, but don't give away the one that you have.
It really did look like he was almost fooled on that pitch. So the way he caught that might have caught Chris Guccione, the home plate umpire. So a line drive to left field. McCutchen takes advantage and lines it into left for a double.
You look at that pitch. It looked like it was kind of down and in, and he just kept the hands in close to the body and was able to wipe it inside the chalk down the left field area. You have to look at the pitch direction. They want it away. It's downstairs. Yeah, down. That's a nice piece of hitting. Just goes down and gets it. I thought it was a little further inside, just basically down.
McCutchen has 2 home runs through his first 8 games. That's his first double. A little stumble around first, and you're keeping an eye on the knee situation. Been dealing with a tender knee going back to spring training. Here is Alvarez now. Takes a strike. Pirates are so committed to keeping Alvarez out of the cleanup spot that they move McCutchen to this role for the first time since June of 2013. They just want to try and keep the pressure off of Pedro Alvarez as much as they can. 1 ball and 1 strike. 94 miles per hour from Jimmy Nelson.
And you want to see if you can just get something going against Nelson, see how he handles it. You know, he was around a little bit last year after tearing it up at AAA, but still a very young pitcher. See if we can make a run at him, get him back on his heels a little bit, so when he gets rattled, maybe make some mistakes.
This is there. Pirates looking to score their first run or runs since the 7th inning of Monday's home opener.
So 20 innings now?
Pickoff try. McCutchen back.
You also want to put Nelson in some of these situations where he's behind in the count. A curveball is a delicate pitch to master because you got to be just right with the spin, the release point, not too high, not too low as you look at the pickoff attempt. And you get somebody back on their heels a little bit that's a young pitcher. And that line can get blurred a little bit between too high or too low. Here's again.
Alvarez was 0 for 2 against Nelson, plus a walk last Saturday. Just 2 hits against him. One by Francisco Cervelli in the first inning, another by Starling Marte, a 2-out single in the 7th inning.
And you see if they want to come back with a fastball after the curve or stay with the hook. The hook.
Alvarez down on strikes. 1 down.
Back-to-back curveballs. And that's a good one. And again, now if he stays on that bottom line of that strike zone, it's difficult. But curveballs are harder to be consistent with than sliders. A slider is an easier breaking ball to throw strikes with because it's just kind of a cut fastball. There's a lot of things going on with a curveball. The spin, releasing it far enough out in front so it doesn't hang up. A lot more going on with a curve than a slider.
Marte, who hit cleanup against Nelson last weekend, that Saturday game. Marte 1 for 2 plus a walk against Jimmy Nelson. Slider in the dirt. At some point want to see Steve demonstrate this curveball you're talking about. This is that spike curve that has become popular.
Yeah, the curveball can be thrown with so many different grips, but they call it a spike because the fingers is dug into the seams like it is with a knuckleball. It's still thrown with a rotation, a big wrist movement.
To the right side, second baseman Jeanette.
And so many different grips for curveballs. They can throw them across the seams, with the seams. More people try different grips, and you find something. But that spike, I don't know what it does to help because you're still getting a lot of pressure on this bottom finger because you got to get the roll out of the hand. So Bert Hooten, they used to call it a knuckle curve because knuckleballs dig in with the fingernails. So they call it the spike curveball, and a lot of pitchers feel comfortable. A curveball will work with the grip that you find as an individual, and every young pitcher searches for the right grip for a curveball.
Ball 1 on Jordy Mercer. Mercer was 3 for 7 last weekend against the Brewers. Ball 1 strike. Jimmy Nelson, a 2nd-round pick in 2010.
And he really did dominate AAA pitching last year before they bought him up. Now there's the high curveball. That he got away with that one. That's upstairs, and that's what makes the curveball so vulnerable. That is a very hittable pitch. But he hasn't thrown too many up there so far tonight. A lot of them have been down along that bottom line, that horizontal line at the bottom of the strike zone. See, and that was down too low.
Rick Kranitz is the pitching coach for the Brewers. The middleman there on your screen, talking with manager Ron Renicky. One of the reasons they felt that they could afford to deal Yvonne Gallardo to the Texas Rangers is because they really felt like they had a gem in Jimmy Nelson.
Good save by Luke Roy there. They bought him up last year. He had success early, won a couple games early, but if I'm not mistaken, lost his last 7 decisions to wind up 3-9. Excuse me, 2-9.
And grounded to the shortstop, Segura. Takes care of Mercer and the Pirates. The Pirates trailing 1-0 onto the third.
Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Malibu and your Western PA Chevy dealers. By Fridays, Happy Friday. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Bucks down 1-0 to the third inning at PNC Park. First Friday night game in this yard this season. Tomorrow night, fireworks night following the 7:05 game against the Brewers. Kids Sunday. McCutcheon socks given away to the youngsters on Sunday. And then Chris Bryant and the Chicago Cubs will be coming to Pittsburgh starting on Monday night, a 4-game series.
What's Bryant hitting now?
0 for 4 in his big league debut today. The buzz around Wrigley Field. He'll begin his Major League road career right here in Pittsburgh starting Monday night. The highly touted Chris Bryant will be coming to Pittsburgh on Monday night.
Youngster against the old master, A.J. Burnett, scheduled to pitch.
Going the other way. And Polanco makes the catch. Segura lines out. So Chris Bryant made his debut today for the Cubs 60 years ago today. This day in history brought to you by Day Automotive. Roberto Clemente plays in both games of the doubleheader against the Dodgers. Singles in his first at bat of Game 1. First of 3,000 career hits. So Roberto Clemente begins his career on this day 60 years ago. Base hit off Johnny Padres.
We had him a lot of years, a lot of great years.
Our good buddy Joe Vogel, who's been around this ballpark at Three River Stadium for a long time, emailed us the other day to remind us about this anniversary and that first base hit off Johnny Padres and his 3,000th hit coming September 30th, 1972 off John Matlack, but it was on Johnny Padres' 40th birthday, coincidentally.
Kind of interesting. It was against his former team. Came up through the system with the Dodgers. Rule 5 player. Maybe the best known Rule 5 player.
Looking back at the story in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette the next day about Clemente's debut, and it read from Jack Hernan, who was covering the Pirates. As Lucroy goes down on strikes and his early woes continue. Clemente not only made his first big league hit in his appearance, but made a heart-stopping catch of Gilliam's long fly. Talking about Junior Gilliam in the 4th inning of the opener. He leaped high to grab the ball. Well, how many times you saw great catches from Roberto Clemente over his career, right?
My goodness. He was magic to watch. You didn't want to take your eyes off him. Did not want to take your eyes off him.
2 down for Ryan Braun. 2011 MVP. Served a 65-game suspension at the end of 2013. Last year, struggled with an oblique strain that landed him on the DL. Had thumb surgery. Played in 135 games, 19 homers, drove in 81.
You know, you talk about Jimmy Nelson's curveball. Clemente thought he had a curveball. Every once in a while, he'd say, "Come here, Blas, I'm going to throw you my curveball."
How was it?
And it was awful. It was terrible.
I thought you were going to say it was great.
No, it was terrible. And I said, just keep your day job. You're going to be fine.
Now, you were right. He was fine.
but he had a sense of humor about it. He knew it was awful, but you get a little. You're going to have a little fun every once in a while playing catch. How about that? I had a chance for 10 years to play catch every once in a while with Clemente. How good is that?
That's real good. Or as you like to say, that's not too good, that's 10 good.
Yeah, it was 10.
Or 21 good.
It was 21 good. Absolutely.
Ron hits this deep to right center field. Polanco back toward the wall and with room. Not much room. Makes the catch.
On Root Sports, I'm Robbie and Smikowski. Last season, Russell Martin was the unofficial clubhouse DJ for the Buccos. He was responsible for the playlist after the game, after each win, and even every day they had some theme music before each game where they played a different type. Well, this year, they've only played 3 games, and one was opening day, so they don't have a chance to find an unofficial clubhouse DJ. Clubhouse sources have told me that Sean Rodriguez might indeed be the biggest music lover on the team and may assume that role in Russell's place. We'll keep you posted as we find out more details, and we'll also get our hands on some of those playlists, Greg and Steve, as the season goes on every Friday night.
It would be fun to do, Robbie, and I'd like to get that inside source. I know you won't disclose your inside source.
Well,
you sound like Blas.
Yeah, I'm not a guy that does that. Sorry.
Same as Steve. You're just like Steve.
A gentleman does not tell tales out of school.
You saw his walk-up song, Lost Forever by Derek Minor. For Sean Rodriguez, 0-2 the count. I heard someone say that he put an eye patch on that guy. Now, he is a pirate.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Longtime Tampa Bay Ray, now a Pittsburgh Pirate, Sean Rodriguez, super utility man. One of those real pros.
Yeah, he's a swashbuckler.
Bounce left side. This is what we talked about with Jeff Branson early on, looking for those right-handed hitters to think the off gap toward right center and the other way. You look back at the game the Pirates did well against Kyle Loesch last weekend.
Yeah, you don't want to turn on the ball. You want to give yourself that extra little half a second if you can. It sounds easier than you can really do it. But if you can wait a little bit longer, you can follow that break a little bit longer. Better chance.
There's Vance Worley.
I'll tell you, the best two curveballs I ever remember seeing was Bert Blyleven as a right-hander and Sandy Koufax as a left-hander. There have been other great curveballs, but I would put those guys up near the top.
By the way, in case you're tuning in and you've read the papers, or you're going online or reading tweets and hearing who was scheduled to start tonight, the probable with Jeff Locke. Well, all along the Pirates, once Francisco Liriano went back to the Dominican, was on paternity leave, so he missed that start, and then we saw Liriano pitch well on Wednesday. The Pirates didn't want to have Locke and Liriano go back-to-back, two left-handers, so their intention all along was to have Worley start in this game as he hits a fly ball to center field, and just some miscommunication was all with the PR department. So Locke will pitch tomorrow night. Let's go to the studio on a State Farm game break.
Thank you very much. You know, I'm going to tell you what my walk-up song would be.
Yeah, I know what it would be. Born to be Wild.
No, thanks a lot.
Well,
that was too easy.
Well,
and cruel.
No, come on. It's always been your favorite song.
That was very much out of line.
It was a guess. Terrible. Why terrible?
No,
I didn't mean it that way. No.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Yeah, Born to be Wild pitching.
No. When we did the thing on the scoreboard, did you not sing that song? Remember we did the
no, Ramblin' Man. Ramblin' Man.
You sure?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So that would have been your walk-up song.
No, my walk-up song would be "Hooked on a Feeling" by Blue Sweet. Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka.
Just because of that.
Yeah.
In fact, you'd ask the scoreboard crew just to have that part.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of it.
Absolutely.
Foul tip and a strikeout. Boy, I hate to say it, but Jimmy Nelson looking at making it look easy. Look at Andrew McCutcheon's offseason commercial shoot with Sony PlayStation. See Kutch's contributions to MLB The Show and much more on Inside Pirates Baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network, debuting tomorrow after postgame on Root Sports. Now, it's 1-0. We're going to the fourth inning. I want to be clear. I had no... Seriously, I brought that... That was not meant to be funny. And in all seriousness... Happy birthday early, because we're getting all kinds of people wanting us to wish you an early happy birthday. It's tomorrow. And congratulations on the Myron Cope Legends of Sports Award last night.
That was a lot of fun. It really was. Myron, such an icon, did so much to promote research for autism. Our family has been touched by that terrible affliction. And it was great. You guys did a great job. All the broadcasters were there. Lanny was there. Bill Hillgrove, Jim Leland. It was humbling. was very moved. I was.
And done for a great cause. Jim Meston, our good buddy, helped put that on.
Guide Dogs,
the Leader
the
Dogs
Lions Club, they do that. Yeah, it was fun. It was very
out in Hickory, PA.
Hickory, PA, the firehouse.
Yeah. So again, congratulations to Steve on that award. This ball's popped up in foul territory. Adam Lind is a quick out.
Yeah, we had a wild time. Really wild.
Funny. Okay,
really
funny.
Wild time. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was rambling there. I was rambling and rambling.
Yeah, you're a rambling man.
Yeah. Now, there was some history, though, with that song by Blue Sweet. Okay.
Yeah. Hooked on a Feeling.
Because you said, what happened?
Oh, when I was going so bad, I was doing all kind of crazy things. I did a striptease in the Pirate Clubhouse in spring training in 1974 up on a table with that song playing full blast. I'm glad there's not a video.
So all the players around.
Oh, yeah, they were into You
start playing that song, crank it up.
Ooga chaka, ooga. Yeah, full uniform from the hat down.
Oh, my gosh. So it is Friday Night Rock, so we're talking a lot about music, and that's a sweet-looking 5-3. 2 up and 2 down for Vance Worley, who allowed that leadoff walk to Adam Lind in the second, and then gave up a 1-out double to Chris Davis, who comes to the plate. Gerardo Parra grounded out to bring home the game's only run.
My favorite crowd shot. I love that angle. I love the shadowing of the folks up close. That's a neat look. Used to see that in a lot of the old-time video of ballparks, that angle.
The difference is you'd see all the men would have caps.
Be black and white.
Yeah, fedoras and be wearing suit coats.
Yeah,
and ties.
Yeah.
Ball one on Chris Davis.
There it is. Love it.
Broken bat, base hit into right field. Davis 2 for 2, twice going the other way. Coming into this game, our Barrel Automotive League leader stat, the teams allowing the fewest hits so far this season. Coming into this game, Cardinals 52, Pittsburgh and Colorado and Atlanta.
Yeah. So there's not been much of a problem with pitching, really, and Pirates have been in every game. Just need to break through some scar tissues. AJ has been through that. Other Pirate players have been.
Here's Parra, grounded out to Sean Rodriguez at second base. Picked up his first RBI of the young year. Sent along well wishes to Mary Kraft, 97 years old, had surgery today from Scott Township. She's watching tonight, and she has been rooting on her Pittsburgh Pirates for a lot of years. We wish her the best, Mary.
Indeed. Veteran Pirate fan.
Ball one.
Well, along with that, we'll say hello and hope Ron Hawkins out in the South Hills, great Pirate fan. Watches every game, keeps track of his Buccos. Good to hear your voice today. Hope you're doing well.
Now falls behind Parra. 2 balls, no strikes.
A man, a dog in his boat.
Well, that's a shot for you.
Not a bad way to spend Friday night either.
Now 3-0 on Parra. Four-pitch walk.
Well, the first one hurt him. Came around to score as he lost Lynn. Now the Brewers with another opportunity.
Follow the Pirates all season in 2015 with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. And a ground ball, weakly hit. Oh, almost took a weird bounce and got fair before it went over the bag. Some English on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very close.
Tried to turn back.
Corey Blazer is the first base umpire. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, at second. Las Diaz at third. And Chris Guccione calling the balls and strikes. Scooter Gennett, the man they walked intentionally a couple of innings back to get to the pitcher. There was a runner at third base and 2 outs. The Pirates decided to intentionally walk Gennett to get to Nelson. And Vance Worley fanned his mound opponent. Struck him out looking.
That's the way to clean it up.
Francisco Cervelli leads off the bottom of the 4th inning. He was hit by the pitch from Jimmy Nelson, and the Pirates get their second base runner of the game.
No problem for Francisco to make his way down to first base. Like a breaking ball that you get the body way out in front. The arm can't catch up with that breaking ball, and you can leave it up in the air like that. Up and in, never gets to bite down toward the strike zone. You keep an eye on sometimes young pitchers when they hit somebody. Some pitchers get a little bit. Yeah, get a little antsy. You know, it creates a little discomfort. Not predicting it, but
something to watch.
I'm kind of looking for stuff.
Yeah, hoping. Yeah, anything. Polanco in a hurry to get a bunt down, and bunts it foul. Now, was he asked to sacrifice, and if so, he's going to change his approach, you would hope.
Yeah, I kind of like to see him keep it going. You got the middle part of the batting order. They've been cold, but still, it's the middle part of your order.
Probably like to see him bunt to the right side, wouldn't you, Steve? And rather than bunting it toward the guy at third anyway, right?
Yeah.
He's coming in, and first baseman has to hold that runner.
First baseman's going to be charging in from first base. The only, yeah. The only thing
obviously he was trying to bunt for a hit just now, rather than sacrifice.
But if you can just drop it down on the grass a little bit, your pitcher is following through toward first base. You've got some acreage to work with. And he's a big man. Chances are he's not going to be maybe as quick as somebody smaller. Who knows? Again, some of those big guys will fool you.
Looking for the Pirates to have just a little more patience. They haven't drawn a walk since last Saturday. They haven't done much of anything offensively, save for just a couple of innings against Detroit. And that ball gets away.
Yep. Very unlike Jonathan Lucroy. All right, so somebody in scoring position. That's a whiff by the catcher. Got to be a pass ball.
Yep, pass ball. The Pirates' last walk was the 5th inning, Saturday night's game. Pedro Alvarez drew a walk against this man, Jimmy Nelson. And a shot to right field. Rick Sofield is going to hold the runner at third. It's first and third. And Polanco,
good call,
holds at first. Polanco not able to see that throw coming in toward the plate. Is still at first.
A couple things happening here. That ball got out to right field very quickly. It was a strong throw in, but you're right. It was a throw that carried well over the. Well, I don't know if it's high enough, but you would think the opportunity to maybe get yourself into a second and third.
You see that throw coming all the way in, and he goes right away.
Yep, complete stop.
First and third, the double play therefore still in order, but nobody out. And then Andrew McCutchen at the plate. He doubled to left in the second.
Well, we have set up shop. It's been a while since we have set up shop.
Two.
Staying upstairs that time. We have seen a lot of curveballs that we expected. Maybe a handful of sliders. I didn't know if we're going to see any of those. Still leaning on that breaking ball. Big item here is the pitcher has the edge. He's 0-2, but you got Andrew McCutchen up there. The Pirates have set up shop. First things first, Andrew, get the ball in play, not to an infielder. Slider, tried to get away from the traditional curveball and the fastball. Show him something a little different wrinkle, but Andrew stays alive with it.
Checks and takes. It's 1-2.
Good take for Andrew. That's still tempting downstairs there. And the ball's biting. How far is it biting? You don't want to be rung up here. Will he stay with his strength, the curveball?
There goes Polanco. And it's bounced foul. Pirates have not done a lot of running. They haven't had a lot of base runners the first week and a half. Polanco has 2 of the 3 team stolen bases. Another 1-2 pitch, and Polanco not going, and it's fouled off. Remains 1-2 on Andrew McCutchen. Francisco Cervelli showing once again a playful side, and Russell Martin used to love to come out and play soccer before games out of the outfield before batting practice started.
1 for 2, got it the first time.
Still 1-2 on McCutchen. And 2-2.
Good take again downstairs. Get him to elevate. These are not easy pitches to take, even though they're well below the strike zone, because do not want to be called out. Trying to get a little extra on that particular fastball. And Lucroy looking into the dugout. Do they want to call a pitch? But you wonder what's going through Jonathan Lucroy's, because he's in charge. This is a young pitcher, so he's going to call the pitch. He's not going to be shook off. And he missed with a couple curveballs, so now he's coming back with a couple fastballs.
Maybe looking to see if the bench want to throw over to first, getting those signs. So that's what Jimmy Nelson does, keeping Polanco honest, who took off a few pitches back.
Last pitch was a fastball. I'm guessing curve, only because it's a strength.
Going to throw over again.
Yeah, the thumb going over to first. Check him out. For a veteran pitcher, thumb like that almost coming out would be to knock him down. Just go over there, go that way.
There goes Polanco again, and a ground ball to Segura on the backhand. Pirates will get an RBI. There goes Polanco for third, and he is there easily. How about that?
Well, that makes up for not going to second.
Yeah, that's a ground ball to the left side of the infield.
Got to wait
for the runner
at
first base. Polanco winds up at third base. And a tie game, RBI for McCutchen.
There he is, off to the races. Slows down a little bit to make sure, and he starts from scratch. That's the kind of speed he has. Here goes, see him slow down, stays there, and then here goes.
And not even close. Allegheny Health Network Super Mode. Now the infield in. Polanco goes from first to third on a ground ball to the left side of the infield. A chance for the Pirates to take the lead with one out.
Well, the big guys, the power guys, usually don't shorten up to put the ball in play. That's not their style. Look for Pedro to do that. Look for him to get his money's worth.
Oh, a line drive caught, and a double play to end the fourth. But the Pirates tied at 1. Bottom of the fourth inning.
Just happened to be at the right spot. That ball was blistered that quick.
And that's determined before the play, so you can't blame Polanco going on contact. Polanco doing his job, and line drive double play. Nothing you can do about it.
Can't control that.
Yep. I'm sure Zach Hoffman was happy to see Gregory Polanco get that base hit. Our Chick-fil-A double play. Once it's caught by Ramirez, becomes routine, but
the ball was hit like a bullet.
Young 12-year-old Zach Hoffman was in the hospital the last few days, hit in the head by a foul ball on Monday night. Plays for the Avonworth Baseball League. There's a line shot back to the mound, and Worley routinely throws out Jimmy Nelson. One away, but Zach doing much better, and his birthday was Tuesday. He'll be coming to the game this Sunday. His favorite player, Gregory Polanco.
Ball was hit hard. I don't know if it's going to get through if it gets by Vance Worley, but it didn't. Yeah, Zach, hope everything's going well.
Shot there. Back to the mound.
Knock it down. Don't panic. You got plenty of time. Do just that. You always say don't panic on those kind of plays, because when the ball's hit back at you, your heart rate goes up substantially. So you got to
stay calm if you can.
Stay calm. Collect yourself. Make the play.
Here's Gene Segura. 2-0. Segura has grounded to second and lined out to right. Carlos Gomez on the disabled list, so Segura moves up, oftentimes hitting in the 7th spot of the order.
Ongoing theme. Lots of pitching. Not much offense. At the beginning of the game, when that's happening, simply have to outpitch the other guy.
Two and two the count.
What you're kind of hoping for in this kind of situation, hold the fort as long as you can, then I'll put my money on our bullpen against just about anybody. Vance, get as deep as you can into this ball game. Keep it where it is or better. Take our shot. Take our chances.
Goes to 3-2. Worley has struck out 5.
Cutter, slider, just off the outside. Tough take, but Segura did.
Headed up the middle and a base hit for Segura. We'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy, the Milwaukee Brewers catcher, who has struck out twice. One of the tweets we got tonight, brought to you by Point Park University, regarding the Pirates catcher, Francisco Cervelli. I think I'm falling in love with the Cisco kid. What a personality. Yeah. Comes as advertised. High energy. A lot of smiling. Really enjoys the game. Francisco Cervelli. Pirates made a move today in regards to their backup catchers. Tony Sanchez optioned back to the minor leagues as Chris Stewart comes off the disabled list. We're likely to see Stewart on Sunday. Jonathan Lucroy with 1 out and a 1-0 count. Grounded left side and a base hit. A ground single to left, putting 2 men on with 1 out for Ryan Braun.
Didn't really butcher that ball, but he finds the hole between third and short. And we're going to talk it over between Cervelli and Worley. don't have to tell you who's coming up to the plate, but we will. Ryan Braun gets his usual welcome.
He has driven the ball to the wall twice tonight. Sent Andrew McCutchen back to the wall in center field in the first inning, and in the third inning sent Gregory Polanco back to the wall in right center field. Ryan Braun with 2 on and 1 out. 0-1.
Good spot. Right in on him. Really working very nicely here in the 5th inning. So just a run, but is in the soup.
Oh, 0-2 on Braun.
Certainly that's where you want to get the good hitters 0-2. It's not that you're going to strike them out automatically, but you may force them to be a little bit more defensive. Not wanting to be struck out with a call third strike. But, take a shot at preserving the at bat by taking a whack at a borderline pitch and just simply not hitting it well.
Ground ball right towards second. Rodriguez to Mercer. To Alvarez. Double play. 4-6-3 DP. Rocking on a Friday night. Changer. Runners at first and second, 1 out, and Ryan Braun at the plate. And Vance Worley gets him to bounce right to Sean Rodriguez. Sweet double play. Mercer, it's a little swipe to the side of the bag. Guns it to first. But Ryan Braun can still run and get down the line. And it had to be pretty much, even though it looks routine, have to be flawless here.
Well, the positioning obviously was great. He was right there, but still you can't waste any time.
Ryan Braun bouncing into a 4-6-3 double play, much to the delight of this crowd. Going to the bottom of the 5th, and it remains a 1-1 score. Vance Worley back with Ray Searage.
Doing his job. This will be pitch number 58 thrown by Jeff Nelson. Healthy number of curveballs. There's a fastball, a cutter maybe. Going into the inning, 29 fastballs, 19 curves, 9 sliders or slurves.
Marte pops this one up. Marte bounced out to second in his first AB. He has hit well against the Brewers in the last several meetings, hitting safely in 8 of his last 9 games against Milwaukee, a .355 clip. Looking for his first hit here at PNC Park this season. And it's 1-2.
And when you have games like this continue going on night after night, Greg, you appreciate that good defense as the Pirates continue that string of errorless innings.
Roberto Clemente made his Major League debut 60 years ago today. Slowly hit, maybe a shot for Marte to get an infield hit. He will. Broken bat, base hit.
It looked to the bare eye that Nelson tried to barehand it. Once it got by him, it was going to be very much a possibility for Starling. Bare hand grab doesn't work. That's a moot point.
He'll take it. You know, Marte loves to run. We'll see if he tries to take off here with Jordy Mercer at the plate. Mercer bounced to short in the second.
Why not? Not much happening. And you got a young pitcher, a big pitcher. So that combination sometimes doesn't lend itself to really quick moves over to first base. Big and young, and so far very good.
Strike. Jordy Mercer was at Dick's Sporting Goods main campus today, fielding questions at lunchtime. The employees had a great time doing that, spending the lunch hour there.
You joined him out there, I understand.
And there goes Marte, taken for a strike, not close. His first steal of the young season.
Very good jump. And you get that kind of speed combined with maybe 6-7 steps before the ball is released. The catcher doesn't have much of a chance. Down toward the bottom part of the lineup, you love to move a runner over every chance you get, but when you're down toward the bottom part of the lineup, you might think about just turning it loose.
Nobody out for Jordy Mercer. Sean Rodriguez on deck. Nelson might have glove on that, but Mercer, at the very least, moves Marte to third.
Yeah, you want a positive out of that at bat for sure.
A bridge, a wall, a legacy. Clemente bridge, Clemente wall, and the Clemente jersey. Hashtag 21 tribute.
Great shot. Great message to Clemente bridge. A lot of people involved. See, after all these years, a lot of Clemente jerseys. A lot of Clemente jerseys in this town.
Infielding all the way around. There's a line drive base hit for Sean Rodriguez. His first Pirate RBI brings home Marte, and the Pirates lead 2-1.
Couldn't have come at a better time. Rock solid. Didn't wait around. There's a curveball downstairs, but I think he might have been looking for it. It's hard to guess. especially if you guess right, and he did. And looking like that might have been the first curveball of the inning, as he's going to some fastballs and sliders. See if Vance can keep the parade going by getting Rodriguez into scoring position.
Marte, the infield hit, the stolen base, a little manufactured run there. Strike. 0-2 on Worley.
You love to see that with a struggling Pirate, you know, finding a way to contribute somehow, some way. Get yourself a base hit, scratch base hit, steal a base, and score.
Golf building, letting everybody know that the Pirates have scored a run. And there goes the runner from first base. Sean Rodriguez is safe. Even though Worley goes down with a strikeout.
Trying to piece some offense together here.
Rodriguez picks up the stolen base.
Ball gets away, and he's in there anyway, but that confirms it.
2 outs. Sean Rodriguez picking up his first Pirate ribby. Bucks 2 for 2 in the stolen base department. There's Josh Harrison.
Thinking he might have been thinking curveball there, way behind that fastball at 91 miles an hour, 92.
One ball, one strike.
Doing his job. Giving up 1 run.
There's a line drive, base hit in the left field. Sean Rodriguez will score. J-Hay makes it a 3-1 game.
That's what you call a hanging breaking ball. And he jumped on it. That's what can happen to a curve. Have a visit to the mound by Kranitz, the pitching coach. This curveball stays up in the air, right in the middle of the hitting zone. Love 2-out offense. Love 2-out offense. They haven't moved around in the bullpen for the Brewers, but I'm going to watch Josh Harrison. We've been running successfully. Why not? You got nothing to lose. You're kind of in the bonus round here in the bottom of the 5th.
It's early in Jimmy Nelson's career, but that's a trend that we'll watch also. He made his big league debut 2013. He made 4 appearances, 1 start. Last year, a dozen starts, and making his 2nd straight start this season, but opponents have stolen 11 bases in 12 attempts in his early career, including 2 for 2 tonight. Francisco Cervelli has grounded out, has been hit by a pitch. Looked like Harrison might have been leaning right there, but hits back easily.
I'd be stunned if he didn't go. Everybody playing honest up the middle, so they're going to have a ways to go to get over there to take a throw from Jonathan Lucroy. Pretty good spread. Although Scooter Gennett is not all that far away. They're convinced that the Pirates are going to continue to run.
There he goes. Pitch out. A heck of a play by Scooter Gennett.
Great tag.
Take that ball out of the dirt and apply a quick tag on Josh Harrison. Caught stealing, 2-4. Pirates pick up a pair. Sean Rodriguez, his first Pirate RBI. Josh Harrison added to the lead, and the Bucks now lead at 3-1. As the Buccos and Brewers meet the middle game of the series, fireworks courtesy of First Energy Solutions. Plus, every Saturday is an Eden Park Scratch and Win Saturday. For tickets, go to Pirates.com. Game 2 of the series. Sean Rodriguez hits the RBI, gives the Pirates the lead. Josh Harrison followed. And now we watch Vance Worley face Adam Lind, Ramos Ramirez, and Chris Davis. Worley's second straight start against the Brewers. Gave up 6 runs at Miller Park last Saturday. 6 1/3, 7 hits. 1-1 on Lind. Four hits allowed by Worley, who was a third-round pick in 2008 by the Philadelphia Phillies. Josh Harrison's RBI gives Worley the 2-run lead. And again, Sean Rodriguez picks up his first Pirate ribby. And he gets another strikeout. 6 Ks for Vance Worley.
Good fastball, well placed. Wide side of the strike zone. They got him to chase a ball outside the strike zone. He did. You want to chase those kind, throw them all night.
Ramos Ramirez has struck out looking and grounded to third. Goes the other way. Polanco back a couple of steps. 2 outs. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Love to see those quick outs.
Oh boy, especially in the 6th inning. Now that's going to jump him into that 7th inning. You get 7 strong innings from Vance Worley tonight. You know, maybe more, but you're writing a little script here for the latter part of his outing, and the script is very inviting.
Chris Davis has half the Brewers' hits, and he's twice gone the other way. A double in the 2nd, a single in the 4th.
Got a lead, the lead, albeit a small one. Just keep pouring strikes. Brewers hitters have struggled just as much as the Pirates hitters.
Worley went to spring training as a member of the Twins 40-man roster. The Pirates made a late spring acquisition, picking him up for cash considerations just for the very end of March last year. He worked with Jim Benedict down at extended spring training. Began the year AAA Indy as a strike 2-2. Made his Pirates debut June the 15th in Miami. Left the game with a 2-0 lead. Pitched 7 scoreless innings in his Pirates debut. Went on to go 8-4 with a 2.85 ERA and 18 appearances. Bounced foul.
And right now he's putting the foot down. He's getting the ball, getting the sign, delivering. He's keeping the pressure on these Brewer hitters. He's on a roll.
And what was remarkable, Steve, about Worley, and you guys have talked about it so many times, how many called third strikes he got. Last year, about 60% of the strikeouts Worley got were called. The National League average last year was 25% for a starter.
That is amazing. I mean, it really is. This is a guy who throws 91, 92.
You know, the just late movement, right? Not much, but just enough. Going the other way and foul.
Well, a good example of that, the fastball to Adam Lynn. Up and away, out of the strike zone, but that finish takes it away. Looks good for a while to the hitter.
Worley's first full season in the big leagues was with the Philadelphia Phillies in 2012. And he thought about it, but thought better let it go and let my infielder get it. A lot of times those pitchers will make a stab at it, deflect off a glove. He might have been surprised at
the half-hearted wave.
Yeah. He's hit with 2 outs, and now Gerardo Parra. Parra's ground out in the second, brought in Adam Lynn with the game's first run. All 1. Foul into the seats. Oh, and a strike on the former Diamondback.
Did Cervelli get hit with a backswing again?
Seems to happen a lot to him, doesn't it? Whacked on the wrist or the hand.
Yep. That bat coming down on the glove hand.
Ball, 1 strike. Strike called, 1-2.
Tried to check his swing and shouldn't have.
Called strike makes it 1-2 strikes with 2 outs. And Parra toward right. Polanco back. Plays it off the wall, deflects past him. And that's going to bring home a run. If Polanco's able to get that ball off the wall, the runner has to hold at third.
It just took that bounce, and you wonder about the bounce. You hope you're lined up as an outfielder for that bounce to come off the caging that protects the lights. This ball up and in and hittable. And then he just simply went too far, overran where he thought the bounce was going to be.
At this point, once it's bouncing back toward the infield, it's moot point, no chance. So they'll intentionally walk Scooter Gennett for the second time in this game. There's a pinch hitter, Hector Gomez, on deck. That's interesting. Hector Gomez had 2 doubles against Vance Worley, 2 hard hit doubles in that game on Saturday. Interesting decision here. Now they just got somebody loosening in the bullpen. I wondered if it might have been a decoy, but they are going to pinch hit for Jimmy Nelson. Here comes Ray Searage. Jeanette struck out looking in the 4th inning. Scooter Jeanette did not face Vance Worley last Saturday, but again the man coming to the plate to pinch hit for Nelson was 2 for 2 with 2 doubles. 2 for 3 rather, with 2 doubles. They decide to go after him.
Well, the Brewers answer the 2 spot. The Pirates put up in the bottom of the 5th.
Hurdle checking on the bullpen.
All of a sudden, it's a very short leash.
Yeah. Jimenez Caminero and Antonio Bastardo for the Pirates, righty lefty. Gomez 2 starts, was 3 for 5 in that series last weekend. Strike call.
This could be the matchup of the game to this point, because if Worley gets him now, then there's a good chance you turn the ball game over to your bullpen. As we said, I like our guys for 3 innings. It's just about anybody.
And Hector Gomez toward right field. Nice running catch.
Outran the ball.
Long strides. Health Network Supermo, some great shots and handshake and a little hug from A.J. Burnett, Vance Worley. Usually an indication that the starter is done. And we'll see.
Well, we know Mr. Nelson is gone in favor of right-hander Jeremy Jeffries. Picked him up from Toronto last year. This will be appearance number 7. Just worked the 5 innings. And the rest of the stats. Did a good job for the Brewers last year. Just picked up. Vance Worley did a good job for the Pirates tonight. Couple runs in 6 innings.
Yeah, Worley is just one of these professional pitcher, Steve, isn't he? Just workmanlike. He just goes out there.
He's a journeyman major league pitcher, which is a high compliment.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that's a high compliment, to be pretty darn dependable at this level. Keeps you in ball games. I mean, you want starters that keep you in ball games.
One-run game now. Bottom of the 6th. 1 strike on Cervelli. 2, 3, 4 men in the order. Cervelli hit by a pitch to lead off the 4th inning, and he scored the game-tying run. And the Pirates added 2 to take the lead in the bottom of the 5th. Brewers answer with 1 in the top of the 6th. Jared Hughes looking like he'll be used in the 7th. Cervelli going the other way, going to be slicing out a play.
Boy, how impressive was that closing speed of Polanco on that ball? I thought that off the bat was a base hit.
Long strides. He covers so much ground so quickly. Yeah, I agree, Steve. I thought that had a real good shot to getting into the gap, and it was there.
Nobody appreciates that more than Vance Worley.
A strikeout for Jeffress. Here's the play. Line drive to the right center gap, and he's just there.
And comfortably. That, you know, you're looking for the average guy. If he gets there, it's a shoestring spectacular catch.
Yeah.
It'll look pretty easy.
Well, we said at the start of the telecast that the Pirates are going to win a lot of ball games this year and to get the offense going, that Starling Marte and Gregory Polanco need to be a part of it. Both have a hit tonight.
And showing off their speed.
An impressive run around the bases for Polanco in the 4th. Ground out to the shortstop, going from 1st to 3rd.
Greg, we'll have a moment, a little shout out to a couple of doctors that we had a surgical situation in December before we went to spring training in the family, and Lee Nadler and Jay Herman just did great work. So appreciative of what they did. So tip of the cap to those gentlemen. People, the heroes are people who heal and people who teach.
Yep.
Thanks to those two.
Going the other way, Gregory Polanco kicks off the short fence, and there go those long strides, and comfortably standing at second base with a 1-out double.
Makes the far turn. He can turn into the stretch with the best of them. So saves a run and sets the Pirates up for a possibility of another one. Went way outside, served it down inside the chalk. Let's get that run back. Like a thoroughbred, you know. They just kind of stretch out and just huge chunks of ground.
Andrew McCutchen doubled to start the 2nd. His grounder to the shortstop was his 8th RBI. Scoring Francisco Cervelli, hitting cleanup for the first time since June 2nd, 2013 against Cincinnati. A .240 career hitter from this spot of the lineup. 96 at-bats as a cleanup hitter in his career. 5 home runs.
Might have been thinking about a 6 there as he was looking for a fastball. Didn't get it at the breaking ball. Got his money's worth on the swing for sure. Jeffers with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball to follow up that off-speed pitch, just missing outside. Good take by Andrew.
Fouled off, stays 1 ball and 2 strikes. First Kids Day of the season, Sunday. Pirates and Brewers at 1:35. All kids 14 and younger get a pair of Andrew McCutcheon socks, compliments of Highmark. Come early for the #1 Cochran Family Fun Zone on Federal Street. After the game, kids are invited to run the bases. Brought to you by Original Pizza Lodge. For tickets, you go to pirates.com. 1-2. Fouls off that 96-mile-per-hour fastball.
Nothing wrong with the live arm of Jeremy Jeffers. Got a chance of being called JJ, doesn't he?
Oh, you think? Former first-round pick of the Brewers back in 2006. Strikes out McCutcheon. Alvarez to the plate. Struck out and lined to third. Part of a double play line out.
Some pretty nice separation of speed there. 96-mile-an-hour fastball to 79 on the off-speed pitch. Guy's ready.
Yeah.
Got a bat in his glove.
There's a balk.
Yep. Maybe caught a cleat.
Yeah, Jeffers couldn't let the pitch go. With 2 outs, it's not as critical as it could have been as he balks Polanco to third.
I don't know. It didn't look like it caught a cleat. Maybe turned an ankle, but I'm not sure. Might have just been a late decision. I don't want to throw this pitch, so I'm going to hold on to the ball. That's the ultimate changeup right there.
Yeah. I wonder if that's possible, Steve, as he's starting to deliver a pitch. There's no way I'm going to throw this pitch. I'd rather balk the guy to third.
I don't think. No, I don't think so. No, I don't know. That's a crazy thought in the middle of a delivery.
Very appeal. Alvarez and the Pirates might have gotten a break there from Las Diaz.
Yep. From the side, always the best angle to look at.
And Chris Guccione, the home plate umpire, did a sit-down with Root Sports last year and went through a bunch of different scenarios and was asked about those so-called check swings, and he said it's just a matter of intent. It has nothing to do with whether he breaks a plane or anything. Does that umpire think he intended to swing at that pitch?
Oh, wow, that's an interesting, yeah.
So we're always showing the angles of what looked like he broke a plane.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It's entirely the home plate umpire's decision. Intent.
Let's listen to what Guccione said about it.
If in the umpire's judgment the batter offered at the pitch, he attempted to hit the pitch, essentially. It doesn't have to do with breaking the wrist, Has nothing to do with what the back crosses the plate. I mean, that has nothing to do with it. If in your judgment that he attempted to hit the ball, it's a strike.
That's
pretty
interesting.
simple, right?
That is. And thanks to Woody Harrelson for that delivery there.
Chris Cuccione, the home plate umpire tonight. Sit down with Root Sports.
That's a good interpretation.
It was really neat that he was willing to sit down in a studio like that and go over just about every part of the rule. I mean, for a long session, and so throughout the season, we'll go back and refer to some of these comments from Chris Cuccione. And
great clarity. He didn't talk around it and through it and create doubt or gray areas. That's pretty cut and dry. That's good.
They intentionally walked Alvarez, and now Marte grounds it toward the shortstop, and on to second. Segura gets Alvarez at second base on the throw to Scooter Gennett. All right, Rob, thanks. 3 2/3 innings of hitless ball for Jimenez before he was ejected.
I gave up that one hit the batter.
UPMC scoreboard here at PNC Park. Pirates lead 3-2, and now Jared Hughes on the mound for the Bucks faces the leadoff man Gene Segura. 2 runs allowed by Worley. Oh, look at the little pick by Jordy Mercer.
Ole! Fiesta Festival. That's why they call it the big leagues. Ball comes up, so does the glove. Stays with it. Large play in a 1-run ball game.
Great stuff from Jordy Mercer. Jonathan Lucroy. 1 for 3 against Worley. Ball 1. Jared Hughes has been strong in the early going.
The game against Detroit, coming in, throwing the double play and then the pop-up. Large overall numbers for Jared. Nothing wrong with a 150 ERA.
Another bouncer. This is more routine for Mercer. Takes care of Lucroy.
Mr. Ground Ball.
Reserve your seats to the most in-demand games this season with a 12-pack plan. The Flex Pack gives you the flexibility to personalize your plan by selecting the games that best fit your schedule. You can lock in the best prices and seating locations to high-demand games. Plus, you purchase a 12-pack plan, you get a postseason ticket presale opportunity. To get your 12-pack plan, go to pirates.com/12packs. Here's Ryan Braun. Hit into a critical 4-6-3 inning-ending double play in the 5th. He is 0 for 3.
Jared Hughes just pouring the ball into the strike zone downstairs.
We asked Jared the other day if he was doing anything at all, anything different that we might be able to notice this year, plans or goals with pound that strike zone, and he has been doing that. 0-2.
Nothing wrong with pounding a sinker 92, 93, 94 miles an hour. I'm talking about that during the Detroit series. Used to be guys that couldn't throw hard would sink the ball. Now they sink the ball and still throw hard.
One and 2 on Braun.
Pirates have turned this 1-run lead over to the bullpen for hopefully 3 innings of zeros.
Sue McCutcheon. And Jared Hughes. 1-2-3. We'll keep it here. Friday Night Rocks. An Electric Worry will be performing at Stage AE on Sunday night, May the 10th. You can make that a doubleheader. Come out to see the Pirates and the Cardinals on Sunday, May the 10th. You can go right across the street to Stage AE.
See Clutch.
Yep. Yeah, see Clutch here, then see Clutch there. Jordy Mercer leads things off here. Bottom of the 7th inning.
You're going to Clutch play at shortstop. Start out the top half of the inning.
Jared Hughes, quick 1-2-3.
That tidy.
Yeah. Bounced off of Mercer. The Pirates trying to hand the Brewers their 8th loss in their first 10 games. Get the Bucks to 4-6. 4th meeting of the year between these two teams. They battled back and forth last year. And the Brewers won the season series 12 games to 7. Lucroy and Jeffress looking toward the dugout. Why would that be, Steve?
I don't know. I thought initially they were going out just to give Jordy Mercer a break because he banged that ball off his foot.
Oh,
maybe something else going on.
They were looking at the replay to see something there.
Maybe if it didn't hit his foot.
Oh, 0-2. Broken bat Flair. Ramirez going to wait for the hop. That was a little dangerous play, and it cost Ramirez. Had some spin. And almost gingerly picked that ball up and gun late to Adam Lynn.
I think he was trying to decide what the bounce was going to be, whether it's going to be spinning sideways or... And then got his feet tangled up. Kind of an awkward pickup. Good hustle by Jordy Mercer. That could be huge. Could be huge. If Sean can move him over to second base, you're going to have a pinch hitter. Maybe he can squeak out another run.
Sean Rodriguez, his first Pirate RBI in the 5th inning. Oh my goodness. Ball headed toward his head. And he gets the bunt down. He didn't see it.
I know. Got the bat up in the right spot. So he is still living and he did his job.
Wow.
He'll be smiling when he gets in the dugout. He's not smiling now. That ball was coming right toward the coconut. Look at this. Square around. That ball's going to hit him in the head.
Man. No idea where the ball was.
Wow.
Sacrifice for Sean Rodriguez. Andrew Lambeau will pinch hit for Jared Hughes as Mercer moves into scoring position. Rick Kranitz going over the scouting report of Andrew Lambeau.
Yeah, he is smiling now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Okay. All's well that ends well. I'm alive. That'll increase your heart rate.
Andrew Lambeau for his first hit, nearly going. 0 for 8. Mainly used as a pinch hitter. One ball, one strike on Lambeau. Difficult role for any big league player, but especially for someone who had been used to playing every day in the minor leagues. Getting a lot of at-bats. Checks. Appeal. No.
It is such a tough job, but you want to be doing it in Pittsburgh instead of Indianapolis.
Yeah. And what a challenge it is for the manager to try and get these guys at bats. Try and get them starts on occasion. Clint Hurdle does a darn good job of doing that. Three and one.
Well, the plot thickens. You can throw a strike here. Sets a double play, but it takes you up to the top of the batting order with 2 on and 1 out. That's a good thing.
And a walk.
There you go.
Josh Harrison will be coming to the plate. Bringing the lumber is brought to you by Yellowwood. And Jay Hay, this line drive to left field in the 5th inning. Brought in Sean Rodriguez for the Pirates' 3rd run. second RBI for Josh Harrison. His other RBI came via the long ball. That's the first walk that was unintentional for the Pirates since last Saturday. First non-intentional walk in almost a week. Clint Hurdle has been saying, Steve, that the Pirates are swinging at strikes. I mean, they're not walking, but for the most part, the pitchers are throwing strikes.
Yeah, they're being forced.
Yeah.
And you can bet your life they analyze that right down to the nub, too. Are we chasing bad pitches? Or are they just making good pitches that we can't afford to take?
Ground ball right side. Nice play, Scooter Gennett. Robs Harrison of a hit and an RBI.
Big time play.
2 down.
That is a big play. Gives up the body, keeps the ball in the infield, gets the out. Everybody moves up. The Pirates don't add on. As good a play as Mercer made in the top of the inning. Gennett matches it.
Scooter Gennett, a 16th round pick in 2009 by the Brewers out of Sarasota High School. Cincinnati native.
Rob's a Cincinnati native.
Yeah. Now Francisco Cervelli. Excuse me. Check swing roller to Gennett. And on to first. That keeps the Brewers within reach. They're just a run back thanks to Scooter Gennett.
Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Kenny Ross, Ask a Neighbor. And by Levin Mattress, located in all Levin Furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks!
8th inning, our UPMC scoreboard. Pirates lead the Brewers 3-2. Up to that Bucko bullpen.
Yep.
Tight game. We might as well get used to this, Steve. This is probably what it's going to be all year against the National League Central Division.
Yep. You're going to grind each other up. And as we said earlier, we like our bullpen against anybody. Tony Watson, they beat him up first appearance, and everybody's been paying the price since. He has been squeaky clean since that outing in Cincinnati.
See the season numbers for Tony Watson. Last 51 games at PNC Park, going back to August 6th of 2013. In his home ballpark, he's gone 5-0 with an earned run average of 0.71.
Welcome, Tony. Nice to have you out there. said Hughes a clean 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 7th. We're looking at the law firm of Hughes, Watson, and Melanson, perhaps.
Out in front of Lynn, 0-2.
What's the first thing you want out of your bullpen guys? Strikes.
Yep.
Jared Hughes pouring strikes in. Yep, Jared Hughes and now Tony Watson. 2 pitches, 2 strikes. Coming from the side, 94 miles an hour with life on the ball. Tough program for left-hand batter. Tough program for a right-hand batter.
Tapper right side, gonna be a tough play. And they get the out. Josh Harrison on the other side of the infield retires Lynn.
I'll have a double scoop. No, let's make it a single scoop. Josh Harrison coming in.
Look how far. Look where he is. And look where he ends up getting the ball. Glove to glove.
He's got no time to transfer it over to the hand. It's so easy coming out of that glove to throw a big high looping rainbow, to keep it straight and have some authority on it. That's a big time play.
You really have to like what you've seen of the Pirates defense. Pitching has been very strong, and behind this Pirates pitching, some outstanding D. Ramirez struck out, grounded out, and lined to right.
Still dangerous with his power.
Popped out of play. Off to the right. Jonathan Broxton loosens in the Milwaukee bullpen. Tony Watson, 29 years old, out of Sioux City, Iowa. Pirates drafted him out of the University of Nebraska. He's going to drift out of play. Pirates got Tony Watson in the 9th round of the 2007 draft. Made it to the big leagues in 2011. Initially a starter in the minor leagues. Made the transition to the bullpen while at Double-A Altoona 5 years ago. And in his 4th full season with the Pirates.
What a find.
What a find is right. What a pitcher. An all-star last year. Grew up a Braves fan in Sioux City, Iowa, because the Braves were on TV there, and he idolized Tom Glavine. His dad was a bird dog scout for the Braves. Ramirez just does get a piece of it.
I like Steve Avery too. Steve Avery was around during some of those years. Very impressive left-hander.
Got Cervelli as he limps alongside Watson. Still 2-2.
These catchers take a beating.
Full count on Aramis Ramirez. Now 36 years old. Remember when he made his big league debut in Milwaukee, Old County Stadium, May 26th, 1998, as a 19-year-old.
He's looking for something he could tie this ball game up with right there. Didn't get it, as Tony came with something other than the fastball.
Chris Davis has 3 of the Brewers' 6 hits. He's on deck. And Ramirez again the other way, and this time Polanco with some room.
Tony Watson never gave Aramis Ramirez a chance to pull the ball. Big one-run ball game with his kind of power.
That UPMC strike zone, everything away except a couple that one high and tight. And this last one downstairs.
Well done. That's a game plan.
I was going to ask if the game plan would continue with a guy like Chris Davis, but Davis has twice hit the ball to right, and his last time up hit the ball at the middle. So do the Pirates try and crowd him?
Let's see where Cervelli sets up. That might give us a little indication. Back out there.
Stay away. Ball's behind 2-0. Davis last year 22 home runs. And since his first home run, July 23rd, 2013, he's tied with Hunter Pence for the 3rd most home runs hit among National League outfielders. Bad looking swing and a miss there. 94 miles per hour from Watson.
Late for the bus. Late for the bus. Hard to have an uppercut swing at a high fastball. That reduces your chances of contact. It's tough enough going upstairs with a kind of a semi-level swing.
Strike 2, and home plate umpire Chris Guccione.
Wow, he liked that
He
pitch.
thought it was strike 3, and hey,
yeah,
he was fired up.
Yeah,
He's hearing it from the dugouts. Watch Guccione. Strike 3, he said. Nope, it's only strike 2.
it happens.
Nobody's perfect.
It's happened.
That's right. There's strike 3. Tony Watson comes back down on the count. Strikes out Chris Davis. 1-2-3 go the Brewers.
The authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Nissan Road ahead tomorrow night. It's a fireworks night at PNC Park, and Jeff Locke will get the start against Kyle Loesch. Sunday afternoon, Garrett Cole opposes Matt Garza on a Kids Sunday. And again, a reminder that next week the Cubs make their first visit this season to Pittsburgh. A 4-game series, 3 night games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, 7:05, then a Thursday matinee game, and first chance to see highly touted Chris Bryant. Made his big league debut today for the Cubs. Jonathan Broxton, the veteran, who's struggled in his career against the Pirates.
Came out from Cincinnati to join the Brewers last year.
Polanco went the other way his last time up and doubled, is 2 for 3. We talked about Jeff Branson discussing the best way for players like Polanco. Wait just a little bit longer. Be in a position ready to hit. He'll be in a hurry to hit. Still 0-2.
Was it last year or the year before that the Pirates really beat Jonathan Broxton up badly in an inning of work?
It's been, yeah,
He was just
a couple years ago, but
the ball to
last year also.
Yep.
Career ERA of 5.70 versus the Pirates, with 6 blown saves. 2 wins, 5 losses lifetime against Pittsburgh. Ball, 2 strikes. Look at his career numbers at this ballpark. Known as really, if it favors anybody, it favors pitchers. But Broxton, this has been his house of horrors. Former Dodger closer Jonathan Broxton. Going the other way, and Polanco has himself a 3-hit night. That pitch might have been in on him.
And you think he'll go here?
Yes.
Yeah. Upstairs, fights it off. Traditionally, bullpen guys don't have the best moves. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And Ramos Ramirez not able to get that one.
So we'll see if Polanco doesn't take off here. Broxton's career, 52 stolen bases against in 68 attempts lifetime. Pirates are 2 for 3 in the stolen base department tonight. Andrew McCutchen is 1 for 3 this evening, a double and an RBI ground out. We'll send along a happy birthday wish to Jerry and Brookville, 63 years old. And a shout out to Greg Goebel, had quadruple bypass down in Florida watching his Buccos.
He deserves a second shout out.
That's right. Oh, and 1. And towards center field, coming on is Para. 1 out. Andrew McCutchen with that RBI in the 4th inning became the all-time RBI leader at PNC Park. 242nd career ribby in this ballpark.
Am I allowed to make my first prediction of the year?
Absolutely.
El Toro.
Oh, really? You're predicting long ball here?
Yep.
Wow. Strong, like bull.
Mm-hmm.
From Steve.
What's Bob's philosophy on this? If you predict enough times, one of them's bound to hit.
Nobody remembers the times you miss.
Yeah.
Just keep predicting.
That's it.
Let's go Pedro chant. 25,664 paid attendance tonight.
And speaking of staying away from somebody's power, that delivered by Broxton. Away.
Still so interesting, Steve, to see these clubs, how they shift and don't shift. And here's Alvarez.
Yeah.
They've got Ramirez playing well off the line, but a lot of teams will play with 3 infielders on the right side. Alvarez has struck out, lined into a double play, and last time up was walked intentionally. There goes Polanco. Pitch taken for a ball. The throw sails into center field, and Polanco takes off for third. Parr's got a good arm, and Polanco is in there. A stolen base and an error.
Speed. Lucroy catches a flyer, and that creates a bad traffic situation for the shortstop coming across. Ball gets into center field and forget about it.
Not the most graceful slide in the world, but it got the job done. Gregory Polanco 3 for 3 in steals now, and the infield forced to play in. Away, 3-1. Marte on deck. See if they even give anything for Alvarez. Marte has been struggling the early going of this season. First base open. And a ground single to left.
How good is that?
4-2. 6th RBI for Alvarez.
And Pedro shortening up, punching the ball the opposite way in a situation that screams for that. That's a nice piece of hitting right there. Situational hitting. You don't have to hit the ball over the fence. And you didn't get something inside the pole. That's large. It's a good baseball game the Pirates are playing tonight. It's a good baseball game.
Polanco loves it. How big has he been tonight?
You know, every once in a while, Pedro Alvarez will take off.
Yep.
If he finds somebody being careless, sees an opportunity.
Now on Starling Marte.
So the work against Jonathan Broxton continues here in Pittsburgh. The Pirates score on once again and still in business.
There's a drive to left. It is Marte time. Crushes it. His second home run of the season. Pirates lead 6-2.
Wow. Let's everybody take a deep breath. For the moment, the slump is over. And that ball was crushed.
Second home run, and it opens up the lead. 6-2. Marte's second hit of the night. A no-doubter of Jonathan Broxton. And we wouldn't blame Broxton if he just stayed at the team hotel the next 2 nights. This place and this team. Look, another look.
That's right in the wheelhouse. That can't be more perfect in the center of the hitting zone.
Didn't want to, but swung 0-2. Another look. Allegheny Health Network Super Mo look. That's a super swing.
That's what you call being on it. Yeah, that ball, when it clears the fence, has still got a little juice on it.
451 feet. That is a bomb.
Still had something left when it got over the fence.
See where this thing lands. Second deck, and that doesn't happen too often, especially toward left center. Reiterate what Steve said at the very outset of the telecast, that the Pirate offense, if it's going to click, and you expect it to, the 2 guys that need to be in the middle of it are Starling Marte and Gregory Polanco. And they have half the hits.
So a sampling of what they're capable of tonight.
Steve, have you ever seen, do you recall a guy having as much trouble? I mean, an established former closer, strong pitcher in Jonathan Broxton.
No.
It's incredible.
It is. The Pirates against him overall, but especially here in this ballpark.
14.5 ERA now here at PNC Park.
No, I haven't.
Marte wants opportunity to get up there again. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sean Rodriguez. 1 for 2. RBI single in the 5th. One and 2. Rodriguez making his first Pirate start.
And he snapped the Pirates out of that long scoreless streak.
Yeah.
Building the first run. Broke the ice after what, 23 innings, something like that. Hard to imagine hitting a ball harder than Marte just did.
451 feet.
I mean, you see home runs that are just over the wall, kind of losing their gas and losing their flight. That ball went over the Mason, WB Mason sign, and still had some lift and carry to. What did Jim Tracy said about that one? Vapor trail.
Got it up the middle. Segura, nice pick. Throw to first, safe at first.
You know, I think people in Pittsburgh are going to realize that Sean Rodriguez, he plays with a little edge.
Yes, he does.
He plays with a little edge.
It goes back to the spring training game, the McKechnie Field.
Those were the Phillies with Kevin Slowey.
Yeah. He wasn't happy at all that Slowey kind of quick pitched him in his mind. He was calling for timeout. Both benches eventually emptied. We're going to see if they want to review this.
Looks like they do.
After that, he's going to go out and get Broxton.
Yeah.
He has seen enough.
That's the review.
It's going to be it for Jonathan Broxton as Neil Walker announced as the pinch hitter. Ron Renicky will get the ball from Broxton. And we will be back with the Pirates up 6-2. Our featured group tonight, White Like Fire, that special song they wrote just for Friday Night Rocks. They're rocking here at PNC Park with the Buccos up 6-2. Milwaukee Brewers.
Milwaukee will have a shot against Michael Blazek coming in to make his 4th appearance. His numbers. Large bottom of the 8th inning. Been waiting for it. We got it.
Rodriguez at first. Don't want to beat up on Jonathan Broxton, but it is pretty incredible.
Pirates did.
They did, and 18 appearances he's made here over the years at PNC Park. It's the 7th time he's been unable to finish an inning.
It's amazing. I would think as a pitcher, you keep going out there and say, all right, I'm going to have a good outing. I'm going to have a good outing. And doesn't come automatically.
It's one of those crazy things. This team has his number. Jimmy Nelson started 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. He's on the hook for this one. Pirates had a pitcher, Jim Nelson.
Jim Nelson
years.
Won the last game at Forbes Field.
1970. He made his debut in May of that year. May of 1970.
The late Jim Nelson.
Yeah. Passed away about 11 years ago. And there goes Walker, but Polanco started this inning with a base hit and scored on a Pedro Alvarez single to left, and Starling Marte turned on one from Jonathan Broxton. ovation. His friends out in left field. That big home run, traveling some 451 feet. So the Pirates a 6-2 lead. His second home run. Pirates continuing the weekend series tomorrow. Jeff Locke for the Pirates against Kyle Loesch. Coverage starts at 6:30 with Pirates pregame. Presented by W.B. Mason here on Root Sports. Jeff Locke tomorrow night. Garrett Cole on Sunday, and then those Cubs in. Antonio Bastardo looking for 3 outs. Makes his 4th Pirate appearance. Sean Rodriguez moves from second to first. Neil Walker, who pinch hit, remains in the game, and he's at his familiar position at second. Luis Jimenez batting for the left-handed hitting Gerardo Parra.
Nice delivery right on the knees from Antonio Bastardo.
Couple of quick strikes on the pinch hitter.
Yep, go downstairs and then we go upstairs. Right in the middle. Downstairs, upstairs, in the middle. Goodbye.
And another pinch hitter now. For the Brewers, it's Jason Rogers. He bats for Scooter Gennett. Carlos Gomez placed on the disabled list. Their all-star center fielder. Jason Rogers. Count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Called up today from AAA Colorado Springs. A fly ball is going to reach the seats right side. Rogers was the Brewers Minor League Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Got a chance to see why we were talking earlier about our desire to put up our bullpen against anybody. And they are currently working it as good as you possibly could. 7 up, 7 down to this point.
Vance Worley in line to win it. Getting some offense tonight. 11 hits, and those 2 corner outfielders a big part of it. Gregory Polanco, 3 for 4, run scored, stolen base. And this ball hit toward left center field. McCutchen will look up and off the top of the fence. Pinch hit double for Jason Rogers.
And that's getting their attention right after you get called up. Almost got it out of this ballpark to a big part of this ballpark. Yeah, that's above chain link fence against the padding.
Martin Maldonado pinch hitting. Michael Blazek. well-balanced offensive attack tonight. Everyone in the starting lineup, with the exception of Francisco Cervelli, had at least a hit, but even Cervelli reached base and scored a run. Sean Rodriguez, an RBI single in the 5th inning to break a 1-1 tie. Pirates scored twice in the 5th. They tied the game in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1-2 on the pinch hitter Maldonado. Josh Harrison 1 for 4. He had an RBI single in the 5th inning. Give the Pirates a 3-1 lead. Polanco with 3 hits. Marte, a couple of hits, couple of runs scored. A 2-run homer. Sean Rodriguez, a 2-hit night. Pirates stole 3 bases. Strike 3 call. And offense great to see, but we go back to Vance Worley again. I mean,
pitching and defense.
Yeah.
This is solid stuff.
Vance Worley, 6 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, a couple of walks, 6 strikeouts. First of 3 with the Brewers, and the Cubs in for 4 starting Monday night. Go to Pirates.com.
It starts with your starters, and so far this homestand, this beginning of the season here at PNC Park, got to say 4 games, 4 good starts. All starts with that group. See if Antonio can put a lid on it.
One and one on Segura. 7 hits for the Brewers this evening. Segura 1 out of 4 and a line out to right. Moments away, hopefully, doing just that.
Where's that guy Roger? Where's that guy Roger hiding?
To right and a base hit. They're going to wave the runner home, and Polanco's going to go ahead and get a free shot out of it, but late. And it is 6-3. A little surprising that they would even risk that. Polanco did not get the best throw off.
Another pitcher.
Clint Hurdle is going to go and get Bastardo here as Lucroy is coming to the plate. Another look.
They've worked this hard to get this lead. You don't want to let it get away.
Mark Melancon coming on. Ninth inning. A man on for Milwaukee, and it becomes a save situation. Mark Melancon, once the Pirates scored 3 in the 8th, sat down. Took the save opportunity away, but now Antonio Bastardo giving up the 1-out double to Jason Rogers, and with 2 outs, Gene Segura singled him home. It becomes a save chance for Melancon and his first opportunity in game number 10 for the Pirates. A lot has been made about the velocity being down a tick for Melancon. He does not seem to be a bit concerned about it. It's early on. Once you get into the flow of the season on a more regular basis, figures to get that velocity back up. High 80s currently, and he's not been a flamethrower over the years anyway.
It's been that cutter living on that outside corner that has worked for him so well.
Lucroy pops this one up. Right field, it's Polanco, and he is there.
There you go.
1 pitch, 1 save, and 1 victory in the first of the 3-game series. Raising that Jolly Roger.